Envision a land where the echoes of ancient caravans whisper through the alleys, where the sun bathes age-old palaces in a golden glow, and where every breeze carries stories from a time long past. This is the realm of Marrakech, a jewel in the heart of Morocco, a city where history and legend intertwine, creating a tapestry as rich and vivid as the colors of its bustling markets. Here, amidst the labyrinthine streets and beneath the shadow of the Atlas Mountains, lies a story waiting to be told, a narrative that captured the heart and imagination of a remarkable storyteller. Edith Wharton, known for her literary masterpiece, The Age of Innocence, ventured into a world so vivid and mysterious that she couldn't help but be enthralled. In 1917, at the invitation of General Lyautey, Edith Wharton set foot in Morocco. This journey sparked her imagination and awakened her sense of wonder. She immersed herself in the culture, delved into the rich history, and marveled at the splendor of the Moroccan landscape. In her book, aptly titled In Morocco, Wharton captures the essence of this remarkable land. She wrote, "Morocco is too curious, too beautiful, too rich in landscape and architecture, and above all, too much of a novelty, not to attract one of the mainstreams of spring travel." Her words reflect the allure that drew her to Morocco's exotic charm and its vibrant tapestry of traditions. As Wharton journeyed through Marrakech, she was struck by the grandeur and intricacy of its architecture. The Bahia Palace, a stunning creation of Ba Ahmed, stood as a symbol of the city's historical depth and artistic brilliance. Its courtyards and gardens, adorned with delicate mosaics and carvings, echoed the sounds of a rich past, where sultans and viziers walked the same paths we tread today. Further into the heart of Marrakech, the Koutoubia Mosque, with its towering minaret, stood as a beacon of spiritual and architectural magnificence. This splendid edifice, rooted in centuries of Islamic tradition, cast its serene shadow over the bustling city, reminding all of Marrakech's sacred history and enduring faith. Stepping out from the serene confines of the Bahia, Marrakech unfolds in all its vibrant complexity. The city, a melting pot of Berber, Arab, and African influences, buzzes with the energy of its souks, the bustling marketplaces where life in Marrakech pulses most vigorously. Here, amidst the labyrinth of narrow alleys and beneath the shade of sun-dappled awnings, the city's heart beats to the rhythm of daily commerce and communal exchange. In the souks, the air was filled with a symphony of sounds, the melodic call to prayer, the chatter of merchants, the rustle of silks and spices. Each turn through these winding streets revealed a new sensory delight, from the rich aroma of tagines cooking to the vivid array of textiles and jewels that adorned the stalls. As evening fell, the Jema Elfna Square came alive with its own unique magic. Storytellers, musicians, and performers transformed the space into a vibrant tapestry of Moroccan culture, with tales as old as the city itself being woven under the starlit sky. In Marrakech, every corner held a story, every building a narrative of the past. Wharton, with her keen eye and eloquent pen, captured the essence of this city, a place where history was not just remembered but lived and breathed in every moment. Welcome to this new episode of our captivating series, where we delve into the world of esteemed authors who've journeyed to Morocco and shared their thoughts in the form of books and articles. In each episode, we'll immerse you in their literary works, explore their unique perspectives on life in Morocco, and present insightful excerpts from their writings. If you're captivated by this concept, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more on our YouTube channel. As we continue this exploration of Edith Wharton's experiences in Morocco, we invite you to stay with us for this new episode dedicated to Marrakech. The rest of this video will be dedicated to a reading of passages from her book In Morocco, offering a deeper dive into the beauty and mystique of this timeless land.
There are countless Arab tales of evil jinns who take the form of sandstorms and hot winds to overwhelm exhausted travelers. In spite of the new French road between Rabat and Marrakech, the memory of such tales rises up insistently from every mile of the level red earth and the desolate stony stretches of the Bled. As long as the road runs in sight of the Atlantic breakers, they give the scene freshness and life. But when it bends inland and stretches away across the wilderness, the sense of the immensity and immobility of Africa descends on one with an intolerable oppression. The road traverses no villages, and not even a ring of nomad tents is visible in the distance on the wide stretches of arable land. At infrequent intervals, our motor passed a train of laden mules or a group of peasants about a well, and sometimes, far off, a fortified farm profiled its thick-set angla towers against the sky, or a white kuba floated like a mirage above the brush. But these rare signs of life intensified the solitude of the long miles between. At midday, we were refreshed by the sight of the little oasis around the military post of Satat. We lunched there with the commanding officer in a cool Arab house about a flowery patio, but that brief interval over, the fiery plain began again. After Satat, the road runs on for miles across the waste to the gorge of the Oued Ouem, and beyond the river it climbs to another plain so desperate in its calcined aridity that the prickly scrub of the wilderness we had left seemed like the vegetation of an oasis. For 50 kilometers, the earth under our wheels was made up of a kind of glistening red slag covered with pebbles and stones. Not the scantest and toughest of rock growths thrust a leaf through its brassy surface. Not a wellhead or a darker depression of the rock gave sign of a trickle of water. Everything around us glittered with the same unmerciful dryness. A long way ahead loomed the line of the Jebelés, the djinn-haunted mountains guarding Marrakech on the north. When at last we reached them, the wicked glister of their purple flanks seemed like a volcanic upheaval of the plain. For some time, we had watched the clouds gathering over them, and as we got to the top of the defile, rain was falling from a fringe of thunder to the south. Then the vapors lifted, and we saw below us another red plain, with an island of palms in its center. Mysteriously, from the heart of the palms, a tower shot up, as if alone in the wilderness. Behind it stood the sun-streaked cliffs of the Atlas, with snow summits appearing and vanishing through the storm. As we drove downward, the rock gradually began to turn to red earth fissured by yellow streams, and stray knots of palms sprang up, lean and disheveled, about wellheads where people were watering camels and donkeys. To the east, dominating the Oasis, the twin-peaked hills of the Gilis, fortified to the crest, mounted gourd over invisible Marrakech. But still, above the palms, we saw only that lonely and triumphant tower. Presently we crossed the Oued Tensif on an old bridge built by Moroccan engineers. Beyond the river were more palms, then olive orchards, then the vague sketch of the new European settlement, with a few shops and cafes on avenues ending suddenly in clay pits. And at last, Marrakech itself appeared to us, in the form of a red wall across a red wilderness. We passed through a gate and were confronted by other ramparts. Then we entered an outskirt of dusty red lanes bordered by clay hovels with draped figures slinking by like ghosts. After that, more walls, more gates, more endlessly winding lanes, more gates again, more turns, a dusty open space with donkeys and camels and Negroes, a final wall with a great door under a lofty arch, and suddenly we were in the palace of the Bahia, among flowers and shadows and falling water. The next morning, I woke up in the Bahia. My room, high and vaulted, featured a painted ceiling and old-fashioned French furniture. It overlooked a walled garden adorned with oranges and lemons against walls covered in blue and green tiles. In the courtyard below, a fountain played among papyrus and acanthus, and in its basin, goldfish gleamed in the sunlight. Breakfast was served in a room paved with tiles, offering views through pointed horseshoe arches into the courtyard. We enjoyed delicious bread, honey, and creamy butter churned in the Arab tradition. A little Berber maid brought us creamy milk in a large brass pot from the palace dairy. After breakfast, we explored the empty palace. The Bahia, like all Moroccan palaces, was a complex of buildings constructed in different reigns and for various purposes, later interconnected by passages and arcades. Its extent was impossible to gauge, and navigating it without guidance was challenging. The newer section, occupied by the resident general, consisted of elegant apartments furnished in a modern style. These were linked to the older portions of the palace, now serving as offices, barracks, and storerooms. Some parts of the palace were in a state of disrepair, with some of the grandest rooms being used for carpentry and storage. Nevertheless, enough remained to provide a glimpse of its former grandeur. The Bahia was commissioned by a prominent vizier in the 1860s, known for his lavish lifestyle and ruthlessness. It was said that he adorned the walls of his harem with mosaics made from precious stones and kept an executioner on standby to punish displeased workers. Although the legend was more emblematic than entirely accurate, it did reflect the vizier's love for magnificence and his ability to bring it to life. His apartments, organized around 3 courtyards, formed a labyrinth of painted rooms. Their cedar ceilings were intricately inlaid with gold and color, while the walls showcased mosaics made of tiny tiles arranged in intricate patterns. The main courtyard, featuring fountains, rose bushes, painted arcades, and an ornate wooden gallery encircling the upper level, represented one of the finest examples of Moroccan architecture. Its columns were crafted from Italian marble, and the tiles used for its flooring were reputedly brought from Fez. Even the Sultan had been prohibited from entering this paradise. Now, it served as the backdrop for official receptions and garden parties. In Marrakech, the most captivating sight, aside from the Bahia, is the bazaar. Unlike Tangier's narrow and cramped alleyways with shops on both sides, Marrakech's bazaar is a series of open squares surrounded by arcades, interconnected by lanes. It serves as a focal point for all the country's trade, and it is also where the significant weekly markets take place, drawing tribes who bring down their livestock and goods. The Marrakech Bazaar is the beating heart of Morocco, attracting people from various regions of North Africa. Here you'll find Riffians from the Atlas, Berbers from the plains, people from the southern regions, and occasionally even a blue-eyed chieftain from the distant Souks. The bazaar brings together Arab merchants from Fez and Rabat, wealthy Jewish traders from the coast, and the rugged hill-dwellers who bring their livestock and products. While the bazaar is constantly bustling and active, its vibrancy and diversity reach astonishing levels on market days. The squares are teeming with vendors' tents, and the lanes are filled with tightly packed merchandise and bustling crowds. The shops showcase a bewildering array of goods, ranging from intricately woven fabrics from Rabat to rustic pottery and hand-woven baskets from the interior. There are exquisite carpets from Rabat and Saleh, fine silks from Fez, and the ubiquitous lustrous woolen hakes that Berber women craft on their traditional looms. Every type of foodstuff is available for purchase, including fresh fruits and vegetables, honey, butter, chickens, eggs, and the unique native sausages and pastries. However, the most captivating part of the bazaar is the section dedicated to native arts and crafts. Here you'll find silversmiths and jewelers, creators of hakes and burnouses, brass and copper workers, potters, tile makers, and the weavers of those splendid striped silks known as hakes. Spending hours observing these artisans at work is both enlightening and fascinating. Throughout Morocco, you'll notice the enduring presence of ancient arts and crafts. Native craftsmen continue to utilize basic tools, and their techniques have remained unchanged for centuries. The Agdal is an expansive olive orchard that blankets the plain located to the south of the city. It is the property of the Sultan, and its revenues constitute one of the primary sources of his private income. The age of the trees is said to be as ancient as the Almohad dynasty, and some of them certainly appear so, with their massive, weathered trunks bearing the marks of centuries. Yet the Agdal is more than just an orchard. It is also a delightful park. At its heart lies a sizable pleasure house known as the Menara, accompanied by a large tank designed for irrigation. The Sultan rarely visits Marrakech without dedicating a day to the Menara, and the local people are permitted to picnic there on Fridays and special holidays. The place possesses a unique beauty that leaves a lasting impression. The deep blue walls and roof of the Menara, the serene surface of the tank, the ancient olive trees, and the encircling pale blue mountains come together to form a scene that etches itself into one's memory. This scene embodies the quintessential Moroccan essence, combining the austere beauty of nature with the fantastical architecture of the pleasure house. The Agdal, much like the Menara, represents the Moroccan rulers who, despite their faults and cruelties, were renowned for their dedication to construction and appreciation for beauty. Their constructions were motivated by personal enjoyment, yet this pleasure consistently harmonized with the graceful lines and understated adornment of their architecture, as well as the stark allure of the landscapes in which they situated their palaces. From the rooftops of Marrakech, one gains perhaps the most comprehensive view of the city. Below, one sees the flat, whitewashed rooftops of houses, occasionally interrupted by a courtyard tree or the towering minarets. Beyond the houses extends the lush palm garden, a dense canopy of green spanning about a league in width, enclosed by the red perimeter of the city walls. And then, beyond the walls, the vast reddish-brown plain unfurls, stretching south and east until it gradually melds into the desert's distant haze. The sun beats down relentlessly on the rooftops, but a refreshing breeze from the mountains continuously stirs the palm leaves. From below, the soothing sounds of running water and the splashing fountains mingle with the sharp calls of water sellers, the soft murmur of conversations, and the occasional call to prayer from a minaret. It is a scene of captivating beauty and exoticism, yet after spending a few hours, one begins to sense the weight of its repetitive nature. Despite its beauty, living in Marrakech can be challenging. The streets are narrow and stifling, the houses dark and poorly ventilated, the water quality is questionable, and the food tends to be monotonous and potentially unwholesome. While the European colony is growing and new, better houses are being constructed in the modern district, it will still take many years before Marrakech becomes a comfortable place for Europeans to reside. The Saadian tombs, discovered only a few years ago, date back to the era of Sultan Ahmed el-Mansur, who reigned from 1578 to 1603. These tombs remained hidden until 1917 when they were unearthed by the Department of Fine Arts. The tombs are situated within a walled garden, adjacent to the remnants of an ancient mosque. The primary tomb, that of Sultan Ahmad el-Mansur himself, stands as a masterpiece of Moorish artistry. Its walls are adorned with a mosaic of vibrant colored tiles, while the roof is supported by 12 elegant columns crafted from Italian marble. Inside the tomb, the Carrara marble graves of the Sultan, his family, and his favorites rest. These graves are exquisitely carved and inscribed with verses from the Quran. Adjacent to the mosque, there is a smaller structure housing the tombs of the Sultan's soldiers and servants. These tombs are less ornate than those found in the main mausoleum, but offer a unique glimpse into the egalitarian burial practices of the Moors. The Sultan, along with his family, lies in a magnificent chapel, whereas his loyal servants and soldiers are interred beside him in simpler tombs. This practice epitomizes the Moroccan rulers, who, despite their flaws, possessed a keen sense of propriety and a deep respect for the humble.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. For more information about Morocco, visit our website morocconation.com.